We all know by now that organic food is supposed to be better for us, right? But here's the question I've been asking lately. Is it really that necessary to eat organic to be healthy? So let me share a story with you guys, one that completely changed how I shop, how I eat, and how I feel. About 20 years ago, I was all in on organic. I wasn't vegan yet, but I was completely hooked on the idea that if it wasn't organic, that it wasn't worth eating. Every week, I'd drive to Whole Foods, a really very, very expensive supermarket, so that I can load up on my organic produce, on my organic meat at that time, organic dairy, all that stuff. And of course, I would spend tons of money on all this organic food. If something looked good, but it didn't have that organic label on it, I would have to check with the EWG list, which is Environmental Working Group. And if it was on a dirty list, I would put it back and I wouldn't buy that. And looking back, I was just trying to do the best I could with the knowledge that I had. But I was also kind of like, hyper focused and maybe a little bit obsessed. So now here's the part that I didn't expect. A lot of that organic food, it didn't even taste good. Some of it was so bland, some of it was pretty gross, and especially some of the prepackaged organic stuff or like produce that clearly had been sitting on the shelves for too long. So for example, the apples. I would buy the apples, and they had to be organic. And even though they didn't look, you could tell the apple if it's gonna be super crispy or not. And even though they didn't look super crispy, I knew they were organic, so they were supposed to be good. And I would just grab them and I buy them. And what happened to all this produce, to all this food that didn't taste good? Of course I wouldn't eat it. So all of this would go to waste. And it was a pretty big waste, both financially and morally. It didn't really feel good to me. So yeah, unfortunately I ended up throwing out a lot of food, a lot more food that I would want to admit. And yeah, that really, really bothered me. But back then I was working in IT and I was making great money and I could afford to buy the best. So I kept on doing it even if it didn't always make sense. Then in 2015 I went vegan and something started to shift, and instead of obsessing over labels, I became more interested in how food made me feel. If something was fresh, vibrant, smelled really, really good, and actually tasted good, I wanted it and I would eat it, whether it was organic or not. But I still try to buy organic when it makes sense, especially for things like berries, leafy greens, or apples. But if I see a beautiful, crisp, conventional apple that smells amazing, I will buy it over a not so crisp looking organic one, because I usually peel it. Since most of the pesticides, the concentrated part of the pesticides, it's in the skin, so I would just peel it and eat on the inside, which is supposed to have less pesticides. And for things like berries, if organic is not available, I just rinse them really well with a vinegar solution. And maybe it's not perfect, but it's really, really working for me. So these days, I'd say that about 80% of the greens that I buy, I buy organic. But, everything else, I go by how it looks, how it smells, how it tastes. Because at the end of the day, I am actually eating my food now instead of just throwing it away because it didn't live up to some standard that I set years ago. And honestly, I feel so much better, not just physically, but mentally too. I've let go of that stress and guilt around all this, perfection. I don't feel bad at all. Actually, I'm feeling so much better since I started adding more fresh fruits and vegetables to my life. Doesn't matter organic or not. And I even eat exotic tropical fruits from time to time, like durian or mangosteen or jackfruit. And they are rarely organic, but they are still delicious and they are packed with all kinds of good nutrients, and I love them. I love how they taste. So I would much rather enjoy those than eat the carcass of the animal, even if it was organically grass-fed or however else they like to label these so-called products to appeal to customers. 10 years ago, I've made the choice to leave all animals and their secretions off my plate. I don't obsess about eating 100% organic anymore, and to be honest, I'm feeling pretty good for 45-year-old. So what do you guys think? Should we only eat organic? I mean, yes, ideally, sure. The best way to do is to grow our own food. And I actually do have a small garden that I try to plant every year during the summer, but unless you live somewhere with like year-round growing season, it's not always practical. So in the meantime, I just do the best that I can, and I found peace in not obsessing about all this perfectionism anymore. And here is something else to think about. I've heard stories from people who work in grocery stores. When the organic shelves they run low, they just restock them with conventional produce. They don't change any signs, they don't change any prices, everything stays the same. They just put regular conventional produce there because they just need to make sure that all those shelves they are stocked full. There is no empty shelf. So even if it means to mix and match certain items, they just gotta make sure everything is restocked. They don't care, and we wouldn't even know what's going on behind the scenes. Yep. So I think that's pretty horrible. But unfortunately, it is happening in a lot of stores like this. So what do you guys think? Should we only eat organic? Is it worth the obsession, or is it time to be more flexible and just stop obsessing so much about all these labels? Just let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear how you guys approach this in your own life. And if you like this video, then don't forget to click on the like button and subscribe down below for more content like this. And I thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.